Do you think
So
we're really doing anything?
what do you mean?
Well, we're all in our houses right now, and we're all creating so much content.
No. We all are not creating so much content. There are a few of us creating a lot of content, and there's a bunch of people consuming it.
Okay, I'm into that. Everyone I talk to is like, can we do a Zoom? Can we talk? Can we do this? I'm like,
Yeah,
I
we're
have
in
to
a
do work still.
we're the minority. We're
I
the
actually really want
minority.
to talk about the minority at the beginning because I imagine I've caught pieces of you talking about the fear, and I've cut it off intentionally knowing that I was going to be on this call because I didn't want to have the inauthentic conversation.
Totally. Okay, so we're live with Anders Varner, host of Barbell Shrugged. He successfully replaced me and then has taken it to the next level, which I'm stoked about. I mean, you never want to get replaced and then things fizzle out, right? That would suck.
Yeah,
So, in my opinion, Anders has done a fantastic job.
thanks.
And,
Have
and
you ever have you ever taken over a business? Not
no,
taken over. It sounds so weird me saying that, but come in and succeeded somebody?
no, I came into a business to fulfill a role that had never been fulfilled before, and I just did not do it well. I think, look, every business has different circumstances. So when I walked into that business, I was overloaded with a bunch of other stuff. So it just didn't go as well as I'd liked it to, and it's okay.
Wait, what
I
business are you
learned a
talking
lot.
about?
I started coming in on vocabulary.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So there's just so many variables. You can never. I mean, just like the COVID. There's not one thing that contributes. There's many factors here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming in on an established business, I mean, like you came in on Barbell Shrugged when it needed a lift. Like
Yeah.
basically when you came in, um, I had just finished making sure we didn't go completely out of business. I,
Yeah.
I basically got it to a place where it was like stabilized at,
Yeah.
a quarter of, where it was 6 months prior.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know it's hard to say what the real numbers are on that,
Yeah.
but it's safe to say at least a quarter. But it was like a stabilize the revenue at that point, and then I I wouldn't say it was all the things that the business went through was really the cause of me wanting to step away. It was likely my like not even consciously knowing that I wanted to step away that
Yeah.
created a lot of events that got it to where it was. Anyways, I know I'm being vague and people are like,
No,
what
it's
is he talking
awesome.
about? Yeah.
It's really cool actually because I feel like you and me through the gym and you through Shrugged, like grew a business to a very successful place, and then it got to almost like beyond what we ever thought it would be. And then you looked back and you were like, and then something happens and you like lose a little bit of the love. And then you're like, I want to rebuild this whole thing. And you look at it and you go, why do I want to climb the same mountain? I've already climbed that mountain. I'm not
Yeah.
really, that was my thing with the gym. I was like, I could go back in and redo this, but I've already climbed this mountain. I want to climb a different one. I don't want to see the same steps on the way up of where.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. So it depends on the person. Depends on the person. I advise a lot of people who are building or rebuilding or whatever a coaching business. And my advice is coach people on something that you can do in your sleep. You should be able to do this in your sleep and you should be able to get them results, because if you feel as though you're stretching yourself as a coach, oh, I just learned this new method, I want to use it, you're likely going to get yourself in over your head you're likely going to have a
Yeah.
hard time selling something that's new to you. Um, and it happens. I mean, it's easy to see in the fitness industry, people will go get like a brand new kettlebell certification or a rowing certification or a weightlifting certification. Now they want to
Yeah.
start like the thing, like I want to teach just kettlebells because I just fell in love with this thing. Why can't everyone understand why why don't they love it like I do? What's wrong with them? And what ends up happening is make it really tough for yourself. So there is that
Yeah.
balance of having that passion, but really recognizing, is this passion coming because it's novel and it
Yeah.
just made a big difference in my life, which is a selfish endeavor, or am I passionate about it because I actually see the impact it's going to make in the world, and it's going to make like a positive difference. And so I just like to warn people against that. Like, yeah, you may be bored with running that kind of a business, but I mean, my challenge to myself over the last couple of years is how boring can I make this?
Yeah.
And the more boring it gets, it's almost as if the more successful it becomes, and then I have to find excitement in other areas of my life. So,
Yeah.
do you find that to be true? I mean, you've got a pretty exciting life. I mean, you have the family going on.
That
So
really is I mean, that's the balancing act now. Especially when you're not allowed to bring in help, and you're stuck in your house, which is, I would say, has increased the quality of my life like 90%, but that 10% is stressful. The part where you're like playing dad when you typically are putting in the work. But my life is much better. I think that there's never like going to be another. I shouldn't say there never is. There probably will not be another time in which I get to spend like 2 months straight with my family, just like in a house.
oh,
Um,
we'll go in quarantine again. Come on,
yeah, well,
don't be
God,
crazy.
this whole thing. But yeah, I wanted to go back though about taking over your role, in that I have started and sold one actual sell and one kind of kicked out of the company because I was doing shrug things instead of my job. Um, but and that's all cool too. But it's such a wildly different process of coming in to a well-established 7-year-old business and trying to figure out the story of what's happened for 7 years when you weren't on the inside. Like, it's wild. It probably took me, I mean, so April 1 was of this year was one full year of like you doing strong coach and us having shrugs, and it
Yeah,
it
that was
probably,
when I was fully out. I mean, I was kind of out
yeah.
for a
Well,
year. I
we
was like,
yeah,
I would come in and I was in
yeah.
and out and I was participating.
Yeah, but the ability to like really sink your teeth in,
Yeah.
like, it was still very much your company. We were just all kind of fighting to keep it alive and moving forward. Um, but it took it. I still find things a year later. Like, I just got into the muscle gain challenge and went to the additional resources and found like 7 new like nutrition resources. I'm like, where has this stuff been living? Who wrote all of this? There's
Dude, we
so much stuff you
created
guys created.
we created way too much.
It's unreal. I'm
Way
trying
too
to like give
much.
it all away for free. I just package it up into a thing and I'm like, take that. How much you want it for? Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we created yeah, that was one of the mistakes that I advise coaches against now is there was this belief that we needed to overwhelm our clients with information.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't find it overwhelming, but when I got talking to the clients, I realized that we were overwhelming them. And this is like a key to having success with clients is making sure that they feel successful. And if they can't complete everything you give them, they feel like a failure, in which case they don't want to participate much longer because no
Yeah.
one wants to participate in a program that's overwhelming and makes them feel like a failure. So, yeah, way fewer videos, more bite-sized chunks. We probably needed to create about a third of what was actually
Yeah.
generated. Yeah.
Like an 18-month long program right now
Yeah.
is so crazy. Like
Yeah. We did it because people kept paying to stay in the program. Like, well, we'll just keep making
yeah.
it.
So it's also really cool because like you guys in a way, like shouldn't even say in a way, like very much created really the first really solid online training programs. So people just stayed on them and there was no
Yeah,
other great options.
it was goal specific CrossFit.
Yeah. And
You
now
know?
there's like a billion people creating 30-day challenges and you're like, well, I have this 18-month one. They're like,
Yeah, man.
hold on,
Yeah.
we should shorten this. This is
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
But
My whole strategy on everything has shifted considerably. And people, a lot of times, the worst question you can ask me as a coach or an entrepreneur when someone comes in is like, well, how did you do it? And I go, it doesn't matter how I did it.
All right. Now I'm so ready to talk COVID. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm so ready because what you're saying right now is how I feel about the fitness industry.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how I did it because there were so many advantages that I had. It was a different time. Like we got in on YouTube when people weren't posting hour-long, high-quality video and audio conversations about strength and conditioning on YouTube. We dominated the scene. We did that with podcasts. We were the first to market. I tell people, look, I'm here to advise coaches and entrepreneurs through their journey, and don't look at me as the example, like, because one of my superpowers is identifying trends. I identified a CrossFit trend, got in 07. I identified the podcasting trend, 2011. I'm not saying I did it all by myself, but it's all the information is coming in. I'm very good at going just intuitively. It's not something where I'm sitting up late at night crunching numbers and going, I'm like, I got spreadsheets and shit. That's not fucking happening. I'm saying I wake up one day and I go, I've heard this 5 times in the last 2 weeks. Something's up. Then I go online and I start looking and I go, now's the time. So did that with Bitcoin. Did that with Bitcoin this morning. And the last time I did that with Bitcoin, I made $20,000 and I pulled it out right before it tanked. So nice. I'm good at spotting trends. Yeah. And I tell people that because they're not. And if you think that you're going to catch, like if you're going to do the copy what I did in YouTube in 2012 and that be successful in 2020, good luck. It ain't going to happen. We did it poorly. We didn't have to do it well. The same thing with the CrossFit gym. I got away with shit the first 2-3 years in that gym. No CrossFit gym could get away with right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. So you and I haven't talked since this pandemic.
Tahoe.
The words that we use to describe our scene are powerful. And I'm not going to shy away from it. Yes, it's a catastrophe. It's a pandemic. You should be freaking the fuck out. Dude. Because the more you freak out, the more money I can make. And that's the absolute truth if you're a good entrepreneur. So when I give advice to people, here's the thing. People think I'm looking out for me. It's like, oh, Mike's freaking out. I'm like, I'm not worried about me. No. I got this shit figured out. I can look at any situation, find where I can create a little bit of value and make money. If I'm trying to tell you something, I'm looking out for you. I'm taken care of. I'm good. So I'm comfortable.
Yeah,
dude, we haven't talked since Tahoe, which was Spartan race.
Yeah.
Wow.
Will there be a Spartan?
That was end of September.
Have you had Mr. Joe DeSena on here?
Oh no, I need to.
Oh, dude.
I'm adding him to the list. I know, dude. I know.
Dude, I talked to him Friday. Offline.
I'm adding him to the list right now.
Offline.
Yeah.
When your business is getting 5,000 to 10,000 people together to climb a mountain every weekend in multiple different places, that's not pretty right now.
No. The amount of money that's being lost by that company, the money that's being lost by gyms, the money that's being lost by anything that happens in person.
I think fitness is going to get hit so hard by this that I don't know what happens when the 24-hour fitness bankruptcy goes down.
Well, and new investors will come in and swoop in, may change management. I think 24-hour fitness is here to stay. I think a consolidation, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Same with the
something's going
CrossFit
to happen.
gyms.
I
I
think
think there'll be a third. I'd say 2/3 of the gyms go away.
how many of your people are going, like, I have even started thinking about this, and I don't really want to start a personal training business, but I know that I could go in and train very minimal hours, have really high end clientele, and create just like an awesome experience in a 500 square foot spot that actually just crushes. And you can create just a beautiful little lifestyle, train some people, but it's really just a studio. So you're 50% online, 50% in your gym. You basically build a studio and like a super high end personal training business. I haven't jumped. I'm not going to, but it's like that. It's like inside me. That's like, you could just go smash right now because everyone is, you can't do
Yeah,
the big groups.
that's what's beautiful. Well, I'm not saying you can't do the big groups. I disagree with that. Look at Peloton.
Oh,
The,
well, online, in
it
person.
yeah. Oh, in person.
Yeah, like a
Yeah, because we
CrossFit
don't know
gym
if this
with
is going to come
30.
back again.
Yeah, you don't, a 30-person CrossFit class? No way. Where you're just shoving people into the class as much as you can. It's gonna be hard.
Well,
It's gonna be a long time.
yeah, yeah. Like CrossFit's the middle class of fitness. You have the poor people at Planet Fitness. You have the lower income class. That's at Planet Fitness. Anything under $50 a month, we'll
Yeah.
just call that the lower class. And then we have the middle class, which is CrossFit, which is going to cost you between 125, $200 a month. It's and then the upper class, that's the 15 to $2,000 a month, personal
Yeah.
training, all that kind of stuff. And middle class always takes a fucking whooping, right? So I think you're accurate there.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
I don't
who's
see.
taking the whooping here? The
Well,
small business and middle class in this
yeah,
situation. I think that applies to CrossFit very, very well because that is who the CrossFitters are too.
I also think that the interesting piece is that those like lower scale or low class gyms, as we call them, like 24 Planet Fitness, like I also think that there's a massive opportunity to be able to meet those people where they're at in a
Mm-hmm.
specific way, because let's face it, right now we can talk about COVID all we want, but we're really talking about is really sick, unhealthy people before COVID showed up that are now terrified of COVID.
Yeah, it's a threat. It's interesting to watch the people who are the most triggered by recommendations for living a healthy lifestyle
Yeah,
in order to save your own fucking life. And it's
yeah,
it's very apparent to me of like, if you're scared of this, and I know a lot of people are listening to this and go, well, I'm scared for my grandparents or my cousin who's diabetic or this or this and this. And it's like, yeah, they're always at risk. Those people get anything.
yeah,
And COVID just like it's been so focused on that this situation was always present. And that's what people are failing to recognize is
yeah,
if you were at risk before this, I mean, if you feel at risk now, you were at risk before, you just weren't aware that you were at risk.
yeah. I so man, there's a way in which 24-hour fitness is always going to be, there's going to be a big ass warehouse with a bunch of machines in it and treadmills wall to wall, and that business is going to serve that lower income group or people that want that lower level training experience. Um, my hope is that that is in a way like It's like the high end personal training, I think, is a massive opportunity for people that can actually speak that language and provide that service. But if partly I feel responsible for all of it, and that like we are the first line of healthcare, and that we should be able to get more people into the gym. We should have entertaining shows. We should have entertaining content. We should be more inspiring. We should be more motivating to make those people get to the gym. And I don't think that we failed them in a way that like I think it's on us. There's a lot of personal responsibility that goes into it, but also we could do better. And we should have, you get into this industry and you don't become a professional until you've been doing it 10 years. You'd been training probably about 10 years before you were like, this is just the thing I'm good at. I'm going to go make money doing it somehow. And then 10 years later, now you're 20 years deep into a physical, emotional, mental conversation with your body. And we're all fighting for this, like, I trained this professional athlete and I had this many clients and I made this much money and I have this one piece of information that separates me from all the people. And we don't realize that at the bottom of this conversation is a bunch of people that have no interest in listening to us because we sound like dicks. We're like, you need to work harder. And you're like, you're being a dick. Shut up. Help me get into the gym. And I think that is a massive opportunity right now. And like, if the conversation does change the way that it should change, we should be finding a way to meet people where they're at. And I think the big disconnect between when people become professional strength conditioning CrossFit coaches is that they're already 10 years ahead of the person that's just starting. So you lose that connection with the person that you can help.
Yeah, there's dude, you're speaking my language. I fucking love this. This is the exact conversation. And this is what's great about this conversation is become more forefront for me because of this COVID crisis. And I don't think it would be as forefront. I think it would have been something that would consistently be in messaging over time when working with people. But what I'm noticing, it's common on this podcast, it's common with the clients in the Strong Coach right now is I told everyone, I was like, stop whatever you're doing, stop in your tracks, especially if it's not working. If you've been working on something or you're building something and it's just working like gangbusters, don't let me get in your way. But a lot of people come in because they're not, killing it in business. And so for a lot of the folks, I was like, you know what, just stop and go talk to your prospective clients and find out what they need, because what they needed last month and what they need this month, they're different things.
Yeah.
And you're right that we do sound like dicks, man. That's probably why I get people coming after me on Instagram on occasion, because I sound like a dick. But there's a lot of magic in what you're saying of like meeting people where they're at and having compassion. And that's really what it comes down to. And there's in studying stages of development, of like human development, we tend to judge our previous stage, right?
Yeah.
Like the high school senior thinks the sophomores are a bunch of fucking idiots, right? Like,
yeah.
Even though it was them 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so this is very common in human beings. As we learn about something, we're actually judging our previous self who was doing the best they could do with what they had. And everyone has to go through these. And the stages of development aren't random. They're predictable.
Yeah.
And so when we're judging someone going through a predictable stage of development, it's kind of like you are being a dick.
Yeah.
And the pro move, which I think is what you're getting at, is being able to integrate that and go, yeah, I see that you're at stage 1, you're at 2, you're at 3, you're at 4. I'm at stage 10. You know what? I like stage 4. Like I can help those people. I'm very good at it. I have fun with them, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm hearing you say is there's going to be a lot more people the majority of people are at stage 1.
I think that even my stage, the spectrum in which my stages live on, I've forgotten more stages than I can remember 24 years later.
Yeah.
Like my stage 4 feels like when I just started CrossFit, because that was when I like took the leap where I was like, I'm going all in. I'm opening a gym. Now I'm coaching hundreds of people a day. I'm running 6 classes. I'm sleeping 3 hours. Like I'm so deep that I just it takes off. But by the time I did that, I was already 13 years into training.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not even remotely fair to think that stage 4 is 13 years. So
yeah,
like
you and I were a lot alike. Started training at like 13 years
yeah.
old. So I don't know
And
what
how
it's
many
like to be
people
out of shape.
yeah,
I don't know.
I would go crazy. I think about it a lot. Like we interview all of these people, and every single one of them that's over 35 years old has made a business, has been kicked a couple times, and they're still in the gym and they're still grinding. When did they start training? They're all 13 to 16 years old.
Yeah.
So when I've actually
By the time
forced
you start your
myself,
business, if you start your business in mid-20s, you got your decade of training
yeah,
yourself, and then if you're 35, now you have a decade of entrepreneurship on top of
yeah,
that. That's a big deal.
it's huge. And I think I've been forcing myself just as an act of practice. Somebody that I've been going back and learning a lot from right now is Jack LaLanne. He did like the best job maybe in the history of ever of being 80 years old and still talking to somebody that needed to learn how to get off a chair. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is a carbohydrate. Like, you don't have to freak out. It's just energy, but if you eat a lot of them, this is probably going to be the result. So why don't we have a caloric balance? Like it just and practicing, like having the conversation as, don't get lost in all this stuff. You're going to hear all these methodologies, but like, what do most people need? They need to understand what, like, I don't know, add 5 pounds to the bar. Don't like progressive overload. Do you know what that is? Then don't worry about post activation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we talk about this stuff on Shrugged all the time because it's super interesting to us. But like most people need to add 5 pounds a week. They need to do bent over rows, deadlift, a front squat, and maybe run some sprints. And if you do that 3 days a week, everything's great.
Yeah.
And I want to practice that because I don't do enough practicing of what are the absolute basics. So I've been forcing myself to get on Twitter and make little screenshot posts because can you, in that few words, hit home a point? And what you realize is all the people that are following you, you think they're you. You think that they've been in the gym 20 years, but you put up like something super basic of like, hey, when I was 13, I was training because I wanted to play hockey. And then I wanted to chase girls. And then I wanted to go to the CrossFit Games. And now I'm just a dude that's a dad that's trying to be strong. And they're like, oh, and you could like just like see this thing's been going on a long time with many different goals and many different iterations. And this is what like it means progressive overload. Just back squat, add 5 pounds. And that's going to carry you for like 6 years. And every 5th week, just back it down 10 pounds and restart. And it's going to carry you so far, you won't even have a clue how far 6 years is going to take you with that boring of a setup without worrying about everything else that everyone's telling you to do. And I just started running mile.
But I want to be entertained. I want to be entertained, and I want to get there faster, Anders.
So that is really important. That's part of my mantra in life: educate, inspire, and entertain. I have to be funny. You have to be engaging. Nobody wants to learn from the boring teacher, no matter how right they are. So like, if you could figure out the way, who does a great job is like Jordan Saya. Do you follow him?
No.
Oh, you got to get him. He's so great. He says
What's he
one
do?
message. He's Gary Vee's trainer, or he was Gary Vee's trainer.
Okay.
I'll connect you guys. He's rad.
Perfect.
Um, he has one message, and he says it every day, like for thousands of Instagram posts. And the whole thing is, you're getting fat because you eat too much. Because calories at the base are the only thing that really matter. If you want to lose weight, eat less. And he went and ate a Big Mac every single day for 30 days. He drank like a gallon of Coke every day, but he stayed in a caloric deficit and lost weight. And people are freaking out. But it's the most basic. We want to put all these names to everything, and you want it to be all this super cool stuff. And I'm a scientist at the top of my game, and I've been doing. And it's like, yeah, but everybody else just wants to figure out how to lose a little bit of weight and look like they work out.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think this is where the
meet them where
experts
they're
have a
at.
hard time, though. It's like, yeah, every expert knows. And if you go for weight loss, it's about caloric deficit. Everyone will agree.
Yeah.
But then everyone wants to go, well, it's not nutritious. Now we're talking about health. And so I think that's where
Yeah.
a lot of, how do you from your perspective manage preaching caloric deficit as a way to lose weight is definitely meeting people where they're at, right? It's a great way to reach them. But how do you, but if you say, if that's really all that matters, now you're saying that the weight loss is now you're saying weight loss is what's important, even if it's not healthy. Like, how do you deal with that?
So I'm not actually. I understand that calories in, calories out is like the base level, and being in a deficit is the most important thing. But I always choose quality of food before I talk about quantity, because I'd rather you overeat, which is going to be really, really hard if you're eating like a lean steak and a salad, and then you put a sweet potato, you're going to be full. So load up, eat the protein first. That's really like I I very rarely talk about that. What is it? IIFYM. What a disaster. Just skinny people rotting on the inside. Um, but yeah, that's yeah, I don't really ever lead with quantity. It's like, let's look at the quality. And what we really want to look at are the beliefs around food, but that's probably the next conversation. Like,
Yeah.
what did your childhood dinner look like? Did you ever learn how to cook a decent meal? Did you eat out all the time? Those are the pieces that over a lifetime really form the belief system and your relationship with food, which adds to longevity and consistency and actually
Yeah.
being healthy.
Yeah. I was pretty spoiled. I had no idea. The older I get and the more people I work with, the more I'm like, holy shit, I had it good. Like, no sugar allowed in my house. No,
Beautiful.
like soda was a treat, like a Coke. Uh no cereal that had added sugar to it. Uh breakfast was like bacon and eggs and oatmeal most of the time. All of our almost every meal was made from scratch, even bread and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And we had a garden, and we hunted. And I mean, the majority of meat we ate was not hunted meat, but I understood where the food was coming from, and I worked on cattle farm a little bit with my grandfather, and all this stuff just seemed like really cool, novel experiences and all this kind of stuff. And I look back and I go, holy shit, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Because when I talk to other people, like, oh, yeah, like I had candy every day, or, breakfast was Pop Tarts and orange juice, and I'm going, whoa, how are you alive right now? Like, to me, it's like, how are you even alive right now?
Yeah.
But then when I realized that that's the foundation in which their body and mind were built, it's you go, oh, okay, that's what we're working with. I think it's good for people to recognize that.
Yeah.
Were you that fortunate as a kid?
I was somewhere in the middle. A standard dinner was like chicken. We ate a lot of rotisserie chickens. You'll love this. We actually bought the set it and forget it rotisserie chicken infomercial.
Oh, yeah.
So we would set like a rotisserie chicken in that thing almost like probably 3-4 days a week. Um, so we ate a lot of rotisserie chickens, which is awesome. Um, and then like I would say like pasta was probably like now what I would consider like the bad thing. Um,
Yeah, we had a decent amount. We had spaghetti at least once a week.
yeah, that my dad loved to make like a spaghetti sauce, but like yeah, for the most part there would be soda. But I, in a way, I feel like I never really was drawn to that. I don't know if that like I always
Well,
just
I think how you were raised causes that a bit, like your
yeah,
gut flora is set up at a very young age. If
yeah.
there wasn't a lot of sugar in there, I don't think you're going to have a lot of sugar cravings when you're older.
No. I mean I still enjoy Saturday night. I still if there's a cookie sitting somewhere, I'll have the cookie.
Yeah, I crush that
Um
shit.
yeah, Saturday night I really enjoy uh having a bowl of ice cream just cuz life's good. Um but yeah, I don't yeah,
I think that's I
things
think
it
that's a
around too. It's
that's an
gross after a while.
that's an area of compassion I think a lot of us can have too for people who were raised on ice cream sandwiches for breakfast. They're we're not we're not who we think we are from moment to moment, right? Like
Yeah.
we're an ecosystem, and that includes a lot of bacteria that you know is screaming at your body to give me some sugar, and I just don't have very much of that bacteria, and it sounds like
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of that bacteria either. But man, that person who's 100 pounds overweight, they're overrun with it,
Yeah.
and the messages that is being received by the mind, it's from the body, is a very different message than what our body is sending to our mind. So it's not. I think a lot of trainers end up with a impatience of like, why the fuck do they just not get it, or why don't they do? I say that it's like they're not you.
It's almost like food is just trauma to them that they can't escape.
Yeah,
Like that you're and I've never experienced any extreme trauma like abuse or anything that intense, but I have plenty of people that I know that have, and I just look at them sometimes and I'm like, why can't you just shake this? Why can't you just say like today I'm different?
yeah,
But that's food for a lot of people. That's training for a lot of people. They view they have no experience exercising. It's not even a part of their life at all. And then you tell them like that you have to go to the gym 3 days a week to be healthy, or you got to walk, and they don't like none of it makes any sense. It's not even a part of the storyline at all.
yeah.
So it is hard to meet people where they're at. And you just like you said earlier, you gotta pick that zone that really is going to um, resonate with people, where the conversations is easy to have. You can guide them through that thing, um, which really is like a lot of and finding value in that conversation yourself. Like, do you really want to help those people? Like, I could go and talk to the person that's never trained, and I'm like, look, this carbohydrate has 4 calories in it. This piece of protein has 4 calories in it. This has 24 like grams of this in protein times 4, and we're going to get here. You could sit there and say that, but I could also swan dive off of my roof. Anything's possible. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like
Well,
fully there. I like people to come to me because they're like looking to guide to the next level.
I think even what you're describing is more complicated than it needs to be for someone who's new. So this is what I've really discovered in this whole COVID crisis thing is the more scared somebody is. So the more fear that is present, the more likely they are to just listen to whatever you tell them to do. People just want to be told what to do. Um, I believe that some of the things that the government put out for people to do, wash your hands, face masks, all this stuff, um,
How quickly did
is it
that
effective
happen?
or not for what we're currently experiencing? I don't know, but I think the biggest benefit from them making those suggestions is people just want to be told to do something. Okay, if I do this, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But if they said nothing, then they'd be like, somebody quick. People need someone to tell them what to do when they don't understand and there's enough fear present. So I think for a trainer, the way to get clients is find out what they're most terrified of. And because what they're most terrified of is the thing they understand the least, and then just tell them exactly what to do. And but my experience is if people aren't listening to the advice you're giving them, they either aren't scared enough, and or they don't trust that you have the answer. So if they're scared about something and then they also trust that you have the solution, you have a client.
Yeah. It's
so what's
hard.
the average person scared of right now?
Getting sick. I'm scared of staying in my house. I want to go out and hang out with people.
Dude, I'm I'm hitting my wall, bro.
I hit it last week. I sent, you'll love this. I hope this reminds you of you. I sent on Sunday, I hit my wall on Thursday where I was like, I got to get out of here. This is not, I'm ready. And on Sunday, I sent the text message to Doug and to Travis. And I said, look, fellas, somebody, it has to reunite all the people that like lifting weights. They're taking the barbells out of our hands. They're not letting us use them. And somebody's got to do something about it. And I want it to be us. And I'm ready to organize a weightlifting meet at Travis Mash's farm. And we'll set up weightlifting platforms 6 feet away. And you have to bring your own barbell. And we're going to throw a fucking weightlifting competition in the middle. And no one can say anything because we'll be perfectly socially distanced. But the whole weightlifting world will have its eyeballs on us. It didn't go that far. But I still would do it.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Like a lot of, like Doug was sitting there. I could just see him reading it like, oh, Anders is just in his house right now.
Losing his fucking mind.
He's going crazy.
I get it, man. I get it. I've had a lot of ideas, taken action on some have yet to come out, but that are specific to this situation. We'll see how those things turn out. I'm this is the conversation I'm having with myself because I got this is the opposite lifestyle of what I'm used to living.
Yeah.
As you know. And I'm in one spot and the conversation is, this is good for me. And it has. There's been a lot of gifts. I discover a new gift every day.
Yeah.
And at the same time, every day that goes by, that conversation gets a little more, I have to get a little more stern with myself. It's like, this is good for you, bro. This is good for you.
There's a reason this is happening.
You are going to come out of this way better. Like the business is going to be better. You're personally going to be better.
Yeah.
This and that. There's just I'm just used to way more social activity, way more. And this is going to, I'm ready to go, bro. Like I'm ready to start socializing more. We got
hugging people that you care about.
Dude, yeah. Dude, if someone's young and healthy, dude, I'm not paying attention to any of the rules. So
no. I've been organizing. The thing has been saving my life. I mean, I'm probably on
by the way, I'm not getting anywhere near old and sick people, just so everyone knows. Like it may look as though I'm being cavalier, but me and all my friends we all know that we're all just hanging out with other young and healthy people.
Yeah. I don't really see any of those people anyways. That's just not a part of my healthy life. I have like a really solid training crew right now. Probably one of the best training crews I've had in a while because we go to the track. And you know how many people
Oh.
go to the track? You want to socially distance yourself? Go run sprints.
Yeah,
No
no
one's
one wants
doing
to do
that.
that shit.
So I ran a mile and was super disappointed in myself about 6 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to just go train, like actually train. Anytime I go run sprints, it's like one day I'm like, oh, I'm going to go run. And then I don't go back for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, month, 2 months, whatever. So I've been 3 days a week, like super consistent, like on a track program that I'm writing, just because it's something I want to do. And I've got like 4 people that are meeting up there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's savage. We
Wow.
have like we're crushing it.
Making progress.
Yeah, and what's really cool is like we have like a little, just a cool group of people that we trust to be up there. Everyone's healthy, and we get to do we like give high fives and we feel good about it. It's like just something that reminds you that people exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to get in the gym and I want to like see people, and I've really, this thing has like in a way really pushed me to like want to get back to coaching.
Mm.
Just because I really miss the human interaction. And that's, if I have a gift to give to people, it's for them to want to love training. And in a way, to me, coaching is like the highest level of that, where it's super personal. It's you're getting that love back so easily. There's it's not like touching, but there's real human connection happening with people getting better. You as a better coach, them as a better athlete. We're all learning from each other. We're practicing it in front of each other. It's just such an authentic experience, and I've really been putting in a lot of thought just in like, do I want to? It's not really like classes. I don't know what it looks like really. It's just I've like felt this thing that I like need. It's almost like an itch that you got to scratch, of like really having high level human interaction again, like really quality time with people.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I'd say on average about once a month I'd coach a friend. Like
Yeah.
invite a friend over. I'm like, let me teach you how to use these clubs or these kettlebells or whatever.
Yeah.
They pick them up. They're like this. I'm like, no, put it down. Don't fucking touch that
Okay.
yet.
I lied. I don't want to coach people.
I was like, you don't know what you're doing. All right, we're gonna start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself like never coaching athletes, always coaching just people who are
But
like
it's your gift, right? Like that's
the gift. Yeah, and
it's
I love doing it.
yeah. I love. I threw a boot camp at my house. It was the first time in my life I've ever advertised what I do as boot camp.
Oh, I've never done that.
I only did it
I
so
love it. I love it.
yeah. I had 10 people in my driveway and in my front yard, and I had like a 45-minute thing planned out, all body weight, all high intensity cardio. Like we crushed. It was fantastic. And then it just got too weird. Like my neighbors came up to me after the first one and they were like, was that like a fitness class? And I was like, I don't know if you're asking because you want to be a part of it or you'd like me to not invite strange people to our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I'll just stop. But yeah, dude,
I was just doing it for fun. Yeah, I do
I
fitness
know.
for fun. Come on.
That's what I like to do. But I've had a really good time. My training partners out here right now are just awesome. And we all live the same life. Like we all have kids. We meet at 1:00 because everyone's kids sleeping. And if it doesn't happen at 1, it doesn't happen. So that part's been really, really cool.
What's gonna happen? Like, all right, someone's a coach or they're a gym owner. All right, what's the move for them right now?
Um, I think that the move right now, I think that the move 4 weeks ago, well, this is really negative. I think most of the people 4 weeks ago should have like taken the key, dropped it off at their landlord, taken all the cash out of the bank account and ran. Because the uncertainty is so high. And
I know some, I don't know gym owners, but I know some business owners that basically did that. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when they did it, I was like, oh, that doesn't feel right. And then like a week later, I was like, they're so smart.
Yeah.
Like they didn't
Yeah.
pay
It,
they
it
didn't
was,
pay
it,
2 months of
I don't,
payroll.
there was, I didn't meet any business owners that I thought were dumbasses that did that. They were all brilliant people. And I go,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying,
2 months of payroll and no revenue. That's yeah, especially people in the entertainment or advertising, interesting stuff like that. Like
dude, half of LA.
yeah. Um
Yeah. I mean, it
right
depends on
now.
what city you're in. Like a city like LA. Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Like every other person waits tables or it's
Yeah.
just there's like the entertainment of LA is so much higher than other cities. And what I mean by that is meals, people eating out. Like you go to other parts of the country, people aren't, it's not as popular to eat out
Yeah.
most of your meals where in certain parts of the country it's constant.
Yeah. If I was a gym owner today, I so if you so the gym that I go to right now, CrossFit Surmount, it's like a mile away. Everyone's super nice. Really enjoy being there. The owner, I actually interviewed him. He lost 0 members, and I would be willing to bet he's only lost maybe 10, 35, 40 days later.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason he's only lost maybe 10 is because for the last 2 years, he's created such a family vibe in that place that like they every single person in there was like so committed to just keeping it alive because it's such a special part of their day. It's not 300 members, it's not 500 members, it's 140 people that genuinely like being there. It's their neighborhood gym. They don't want it to go away. They love the owner. He's an awesome guy. They want it to be there. Everybody kept their membership. They moved everything to Zoom. They did what all the gyms are doing. Um, the gyms where the owner is very distant and hasn't been there in a while, and it's for whatever reason isn't a part of the day to day and building those relationships and maintaining those relationships. I've heard upwards of like 75% of the people left in like the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a function of the business you ran before you gave everybody a good reason not to give you money anymore.
Yeah.
So in month 2, I think in the reopening strategy, if you have, say you kept 90% of your gym members in the reopening strategy, there's got to be a big party. You got to bring everybody back together and say thank you. I don't know what that party looks like or what we're allowed to do. And then the transparency of like just showing how hard you're working to make a great experience is got to be at the top of the list.
I'm sure appreciation is going to go way up
Yeah.
because people took their gym memberships and their classes and trainers and things like that for granted. I imagine. I mean, almost everything that's consistent in my life, I take for granted. And then you don't really realize until it's gone. And then it comes back and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah. And I think that you also, if you're a gym owner, you have to, I shouldn't say you have to, but it's a good time to really choose what path you want to go. Do you want to stay in this like $165 a month range? Or is it time to really bump your services to a $300 a month gym? Do you want to bring in personal training? There is an opportunity to shift the business model to either a much higher end service, which I think is probably a better way to do it right now, just because no matter how close knit everybody is at your gym, they're going to be a little weirded out by sharing barbells. So if you can show that there's an option of like, hey, over in this corner, we just do personal training. Yeah, it's the people that the gyms aren't going to just come back,
Yeah.
right? Like it's if you had 200 members at your gym, it's going to be a while before you have 200 again.
Yeah, I've seen the spectrum. I've seen the gym owner who was not maintaining good relationships before, and ones that were very engaged with their clients and didn't lose a single member throughout this whole process. My thing is that's really the difference between a gym owner and a coach is if you were selling or gym memberships, if you were selling gym memberships and the gym's not open, no one gives a shit. But if you were selling coaching and people were buying coaching, now everybody, you can still sell coaching and the gym is just a tool.
Yeah.
And we also had clients that were running gyms were really great. They were selling coaching. And then when they transitioned online, it wasn't actually that big of a difference. It wasn't like a big deal. Whereas I'm hearing a lot of people going, how do I go online? It's like, it's just the medium in which you're handling that relationship has changed. But what's happening, if you're confused about the relationship now, you go, oh, I'm a gym owner and now I want to start coaching my clients. Like I need to coach them through this medium. It's like the clients can be like, whoa, what are you trying to do, buddy?
Yeah.
Like you never established a coaching relationship with me.
I think
what you established with me was I show up, I take the class, I high five my friends. I may like you, but I see you as someone who's just running the class at the gym I bought a membership to.
I think there's people, I hope this doesn't happen anymore, but it definitely does. Like if you own a CrossFit gym and someone walks in and says, and they're like, well, we do CrossFit and there's 6 other gyms in your town that do CrossFit, and you're unable to really hone in on that specific thing that somebody would actually go to your gym for, which is high level coaching, great relationships, an actual community that like the gym that I go to, that people genuinely enjoy being around each other. You need to find the thing that actually makes you special and double down on that, but don't double down on the thing that you have. Don't say we do CrossFit anymore. Like just that's not that special. Find the thing that makes you special and really go in on that.
Well, this is where, like just being an online coach, and there are people who there's certain people. Well, there's certain types of coaches that they've been doing individualized program design, but it's just like, I'll help you with your fitness.
Yeah.
That's the same as just saying we do CrossFit. It's like, yeah, what is the end result that you're actually taking your clients to? Be known for something. I mean, that's why when we were running Shrugged, the Muscle Gain Challenge made us millions of dollars. And that's because it was the first time CrossFitters were presented with the idea that they could have goal specific training. Like there's an actual result that I'm going towards, but most people don't give a shit about general fitness.
Yeah. Yeah. And there doesn't have to be, that conversation has to happen within, right? That can't be looking out and wondering, well, like, oh, OPEX is doing it this way. I'll follow that personalized program design model. People have to figure out why they really like fitness and then build something towards that, and it will attract the people that they are trying to bring into the door.
Yeah, in individualized program design, that's a business model. That's not a result. So like do individualized program design if that's really the model in which you want to operate. But are you an expert at weight loss? Are you an expert at immunity building? Are you an expert at what's that look for?
We had Galpin on and I intro the show. I intro the show and I was like, any Galpin's going to teach us how to work out to build our immunity. And he was like, I'm going to hang up. It was like the first thing he said on. I was like, oh yeah, well we just brought you on to talk about immunity. That's all. We needed a doctor.
Poor bastard.
Oh man, Dude, all of his shit got shut down. That sucks.
What got shut down?
He had like a big intermittent fasting study that he was doing, and he was like a couple weeks out, and they just
Uh,
cut it right there. He said it probably cost him 12 to 18 months of
well, you
work,
just
and
couldn't study the subjects anymore.
they shut down the whole university. And he went and
You
wrote,
just couldn't go in the lab.
yeah, they're not allowed to do anything. No one's allowed to train. No one's allowed to track. They just chopped it.
Dude, the repercussions. This is so. Not only do I recognize a gift today during self-isolation / quarantine, whatever you want to call this. I'm not really into being accurate in describing what's happening right now. But self-isolation, quarantine, COVID, Corona, I don't know. Buzzwords.
Yeah.
Freak out.
Fear words.
So I'm also every day recognizing the repercussions, one thing at a time. And so this is today's repercussion that I'm learning about is, oh yeah, they shut down all these universities, had to discontinue studies. How does that impact our scientific community? How does that, dude, we don't even know. That's the thing, is like, that's one sliver of the global community and something that is moving us forward in a way, maybe. I mean, forward,
Yeah.
backward. I don't know if I believe in any of that, but what's the repercussions of that?
It's every industry has taken just such a gigantic. How long do you think it takes to build something that matters? Do you have like a number in your brain of like, oh, I need X amount of time?
3 years.
Mine's
3 years.
2, and it
Yeah,
probably is actually 3. I just feel like it takes 2 to make sure you are on the right track and that the momentum is really going.
If you don't have a solid offer in 2 years, you have a problem. Like you should have it. Yeah, if you're building, like, we'll say a business, 2 years. If you're still wondering what exactly you offer and people aren't chomping at the bit to get it, it's time for a heavy change.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to change that shit. You're right. So, okay.
So if everything gets cut right now, it takes 2 years to rebuild all of it. That's like when you look at the unemployment numbers, and this is like the macro level, you look at the unemployment, it's like, okay, say 20 million people lose their job, whatever that number is. I have no clue where it's at. It's not like they just open up the economy and then 20 million people get their job back. They open the economy, and it's going to take at a minimum 2 years to ensure that we're on the right track again, so that an additional 2 years, maybe we'll be able to get everybody their gig back. But it's going to be a totally different economy.
Experimentation. I mean, the flow of money has already shifted, right? So getting it to flow back. And what you think about, like, money is energy, and we're directing our energy. So the energy is directed by our attention. Where our attention goes, dollars flow, all that stuff. And so all of our attention just shifted big time. Like everybody's did big time. It wasn't just half the population. It was every single human being, unless you're living in the woods somewhere. And there's no way that people's attention can go back to exactly the way it was. So even if you try to go back to exactly the way it was, things are going to fail. So like there's that experimentation phase you're talking about of like a lot of things are going to have to reboot. Yeah, man.
It's wild.
It's wild. One of the first things that came to my mind was, because I live out of Airbnbs, is all of a sudden all the Airbnbs started getting cheap, and I could find an Airbnb anywhere for a really cheap price.
Yep.
Overnight. It took 1 week. 1 week.
I do that business. I mean, every business, right? But imagine 6 weeks ago, you owned 7 houses around the country in beautiful destination spots, and you've been online. You live whatever life you want because you're making $5,000 a month on each house or whatever it is. I don't know how much Airbnb stuff goes, but like you could make in the amount of money that you need to live this super comfortable, travel stops, travel bans, travel, everything is done. And now all of a sudden it's like you went from super net positive to now you have 8 mortgages.
Yeah, well, it's debt and cash flow. So they have debt that relies on cash flow. Cash flow stops, debt
Yeah.
can't be paid, and now you lose it all. So so many of our businesses are built in that way. So Airbnb came to mind. I go, okay, so we're gonna have an increased supply in housing soon, which is gonna drive the price down. All right. And my buddy, he rented a car for like 2 months from Avis for like $500 a month, super cheap. And a nice, I don't want to say it's nice, it's an SUV, standard. And but all these car rental places aren't renting cars right now, so they're selling them. So now there's oversupply of cars in the market. So what's that going to do? It's going to drive the cost of cars down.
Yeah.
And then we're injecting a lot of money. So we're devaluing the dollar, probably not enough. But
That's
here's
terrifying.
And I say that, but then I actually don't know. Like I'm just a guy who's over here speculating in a house in Utah and looking on the internet. And when I listen to the people who know more about business than I do, and I'm paying attention, you know what they say? We don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know the oil could go negative. Like,
yeah, nobody. It's really interesting, and this is one of my favorite things about social media right now. Is like you're getting all these people's opinions. Like you go on Facebook and just straight through all these people talking. No one knows what the hell they're talking about. Literally nobody at the highest level of smart people and the lowest level of dumb people has a clue what's happening. Yet they wheel the president out. You got to stand in front of that podium tonight and talk like you know. And he's the best at talking like he knows. He's like, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so good. And you go, dude, just say you don't know. Just say we're trying. Just like nobody knows. And
that's the job of a leader, is to create certainty.
Because I like the guy that goes, look, we got 15 options. Like I want to talk to the guy that's like, here's the 9 smartest people. They each gave me 2 ideas. That now I've got 18 ideas, and I got to sift through these things. I haven't slept in a week. It's been really, really stressful. But check it out. This option sucked. We threw that one out right away. There was no way people were going to drink ammonia. There's no way. Clorox in your lungs is not good. We thought about the light thing. That was weird, right? We're going to shine a light inside us and kill things. It's not going to happen. Come on. But we got these other 3. And like maybe these 3 have a chance. Those are the people that I talk to that I enjoy learning from, because they're critically thinking about something. Not, wheel this guy out and have him just talk.
Well, here's the thing: is you're rare. You're rare, Anders. So you're
I want the critical thinker.
Well, it's because you're a critical thinker, right? And so critical thinkers value critical thinkers. But the trouble is like I said in the beginning, when people are in fear, what do they want? They just want to be told what to do. And if you go against what the main person is telling you what to do, wear a mask, wash your hands, if you in any way go against that, you're a fucking crazy person.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because not only am I in disagreement with the average person, but what's scary to that person is that you're shaking their certainty. Okay, I know that if I do this, and this, I'm safer, and I'm taken care of. I have like this certainty, like I've got these things that I'm gonna do. And if you question that, then people fucking freak out.
Yeah.
Because now what you've just introduced is uncertainty. And what I've learned is people do not know how to deal with that at all. As soon as it enters in, someone please tell me what to do. I
actually love that period of time where you're like, we're going to have to figure this out.
Well, yeah, you're a critical thinker. You enjoy, you like to,
chaos creates a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, you like the thrill though. Like you like a little bit of chaos. Not everyone likes chaos. So. Yeah.
I've really enjoyed, and I don't even know most of these people. I don't know who the hell my Facebook friends are, but I've enjoyed
I
some
don't
of
either.
them. Yeah, I don't know. They're not where there's people. They're
uh,
internet accounts. Um, I've enjoyed
they're not real.
watching. Yeah, I've enjoyed watching people's relationship with fear.
Mm.
Like when some people are like, it's very strange when people are super serious and they're like, you should be scared. And I go, well, I'm not. No, you should be scared. And you're like, okay, well, I'm still not. No, 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 no. Listen, listen, listen harder. You should be very scared. You go, okay, well, I'm still not. And then they think you're a terrible person. It's like, no, you just have a weird relationship with fear. Like, I understand that it's a little scary. It's scary not
Well,
knowing.
people
But I've done a
confuse.
lot of things that are scary ish. Like, and you just have a better relationship with the fact that you can't control all the things. And this is just it's another one.
Well, I imagine that they're confusing being scared with worry. So if I'm not, this happens a lot, right? So we can talk about collapse distinction. So how many does your mother worry about you, or did she worry about you when you were a kid? No,
Never.
no. Okay, this is really common amongst mothers. Is they actually collapse the idea that they collapse love and worry. Is that if I'm not worried, then I'm not showing love, right?
Yeah.
And so getting a mother to let go of the worry and still experience love can be a really big challenge, because usually that's how they learn it from their mom or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they associate the two. So the same thing happens with people around fear and worry is if you're not acting worried, then you don't care. And so they've collapsed worry and love and care, because this is a very common collapse distinction. That's why I'm bringing it
Yeah.
up. And it's like, if Anders, if you are not acting like you're worried, if you're not uh, uh, projecting your imagination of terrible things that could happen in the future, then you obviously don't love or care about anybody. And
Yeah.
so now you're an asshole. But what the person who is making that assumption fails to see is what they're doing is projecting a reality out onto you. And so you're immune to it because you don't have that collapse, right?
Yeah.
So now you just seem strange.
It,
But what people don't know is that you have a huge advantage.
and it's also the ability to hold contradictory ideas of equal value in your brain and just say, look, they're the same. And I can totally understand that you're scared. And I totally get that you want to stay in your house and not infect other people. I don't want to do that either. But I also am not scared. And the people that I'm around all the time aren't scared. And if I'm around those people, I'm not really contributing to this craziness. Like, I can go live my life and be healthy and not worry about it and go about my day to day and also not want a billion people to die. I don't have to choose a billion people dying or living my life. I can not want all the people to die and live my life. It's totally possible. And when you start putting contradictory, conflicting ideas of equal value on the same pedestal and saying, yes, we can do both, or I'm aware of both, and sometimes I choose to be in my house because it's less optimal for the greater good of keeping people alive. And also, I go to the track and I hang out with all of my healthy friends, and I don't feel bad about it. You're allowed
Yeah.
to have both ideas and both feelings and feel fine with it.
Yeah. I think there's so there's like levels of awareness, and you have enough awareness to realize that that you have the ability to hold paradox, or what appears to be paradox to other people. To you, it doesn't seem like paradox. It's usually the sign that you can hold it. And then
Like, how do you not understand this?
yeah. And but so like there's the expansion of what is in this moment, but then there's the having the level of awareness to see the future as well. I don't mean see the future like you look in a crystal ball, but for instance, everyone's like, what if you get old people sick or this or that? You pass it around because you're moving around. Okay. But let's fast forward 10 years. What's the repercussion of people self-isolating? What's the repercussion of
Yeah.
like three months from now? Like there are tons of studies. Doug cited one when we were on the show of um how much being social contributes to overall health. And then, watching when you do talk to doctors who are specialists in immunity, are suggesting that we need to mix it up with our environment regularly in order to keep our immune system
Yeah.
operating at optimal level. And so people are isolating, they're not getting their social interaction. So their happiness is going down, which is impacting their hormones. Stress is going up, not getting vitamin D, not being in the sun, which they found vitamin D is a huge predictor of whether you're going to be impacted by this virus terribly or not. And then now we're sanitizing everything. Our body's not getting the stimulus for the immune system to be robust. So what happens in 3 months, and everyone goes back out, and I don't really know how to interact with other people. I only need 2 or 3 weeks without a hug before I start getting robotic.
Yeah.
Like I have a, I tend to, my empathy will go down. I know that 100%. If I'm not getting physical touch, my empathy starts going down. I become very isolated in my thinking. I become
Yeah.
very, and I know I'm not the only one.
That's the easiest. Like that is the thing. I walk around all day in my life and hey, how are you? Big smiles. I want everyone to feel good when I come in contact with them. I've got this little glimpse of time to make a great impact on someone's day. I think about that. And then I sit in my chair or wherever I'm working, and I've been inside for 2 days, and all I can think is Darwin. They're supposed to die.
Yeah.
Because you forget that you love people.
Yeah. If you're not the person who's actually at risk, I've witnessed people slip into that thinking.
So simple.
Well, people are using the terminology like culling the herd online. Like people are being outspoken about it. This isn't something that's coming up for people and they're keeping it in. They're like, this happens with any population. This is why deer hunting exists, right? We hunt deer and we hunt hog. Whether you agree with hunting or not, it's necessary to keep the deer population healthy. Yeah. So if we don't kill so many different deer, what ends up happening is there's an overpopulation. There is a greater risk of disease spreading amongst the deer. And then we have a bunch of diseased deer, and it can really screw things up. Right. So the same thing with human beings is, it's interesting that you got a guy like Bill Gates going around for a decade saying we have overpopulation issues, but also wants to vaccinate everybody. And the, this could be, I'm not saying it is. These are like questions that come up for me, which is,
would you ask hard questions right now?
Oh, you're fucked.
You are so fucked, man. This is the real problem. Is like,
but is this a result of overpopulation?
See that?
I don't know.
I think it's a result of the way that we live, right? Like we've seen the environment 100%. Completely 180. The fact that we're international business traveling all over. Like when else in history, like we think we've been alive a long time and we just haven't. It's been 60 years where the idea that you could just pick up and go to Costa Rica for a week is just possible.
Totally. And even then it was China. Scary. Now it's normal.
Yeah. Like I went to South Africa for my honeymoon to just go on safari. Like, it's like a 24-hour flight. I'll be there tomorrow. No, that never in the history of ever is a thing. And
Yeah.
now we're just all everywhere, and it's madness.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of this thing coming from any one thing of going, oh, we're going to identify the one thing that's causing this
No.
problem. It's like, no. You're right. It's everything. It's a culmination of how everything
Yeah.
has been up into this moment. And
I
yeah,
just don't like
we're
the
doing a
fact
lot
that
of strange things.
if we ask hard questions, you instantly sound like you're a Darwin freak that's trying to kill everyone. You go, well, wait a second. Like, no, we have to ask weird questions right now because it's a weird time. Everyone's in their house.
Yeah.
How easy was it to get everybody in the world in their house? That's freaky. I freak out sometimes if I get a little too elevated and somebody goes, and I just think, man, in like 20 minutes when it hits 10 o'clock, everyone's going to go to sleep. Oh, my brain's like, they're all going to go to sleep. All of us. We just collectively decided like 10:30, it's a little late. I'm going to go to bed. And everybody does it. And now I'm like, it took us 48 hours. It was like March 17th, and everyone's like, I'm going to go in my house. You going to go in your house? Let's go. And everybody went. And we have no idea when we get to come out. Everybody did it. All of us. How crazy. It's so wild. How is that not a part of sociology studies right now? Of like, fear is so gnarly, so crazy that everyone would do that. And nobody even thought twice. It was like, it's the only way we can do it. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe if there was a playbook of 6 options and they said, look, guys, here's the deal. We're at this unprecedented thing. One option that's guaranteed to keep you safe is to just go to your family. Sit in the house. Don't go anywhere. Here's the other thing. You can go outside, but you have X amount of risk. You could also just go about your normal day. But if you do that, you put like tens of thousands, potentially the butterfly effect gets in the millions of people you'll affect. We would really prefer you not doing that. And just lay out options. And let's think about which one matters, because go in your house was the best we had. You have to be kidding me. Like,
I think part of it is that's what other countries were doing. And I think that Americans as a whole, our culture, especially the more liberal part of our culture, really feels guilty about not being more like Europe, and really feels guilty about like being different from the rest of the world. So if the rest of the world is doing it, there's half the population of the United States would feel guilty if we didn't. So, and then all you got to do is convince another 10% that whatever it is that's going on is a good idea. And now you have majority. And now the mob really thinks this is a great idea. So, and they were
yeah,
looking at numbers, you know, you look at, I think the most popular thing to look at is Sweden versus Denmark or something like that. Similar population densities, similar ethnicity, all that kind of stuff. One did shelter in place, the other one didn't, and they were looking at the numbers. But the thing is, as the numbers roll in, there's controversy. Like
always.
none of it's
Dude, that
solid.
day, tell me that day wasn't the end of you caring when they were like, okay, you died of COVID-19 for sure. And then the next day they were like, well, you probably died, so we'll put you in the sick group. And you're like, who decided this?
Yeah, that was the
That
day when
I'm out.
Yeah, when that became apparent. That was around the time. I don't know if that was like the thing that did it, but there was a moment where I go, "Oh, you got me." Like,
I was totally had.
because I was like looking at the stats and everything, and then I realized, well, first off, epidemiological studies are some of the worst studies to base decisions off of. Yes, it's the only type of study you can base decisions off of in some cases, but the variables are infinite.
Yeah.
So you're really, it's to me, it's entertaining. An epidemiological study is entertaining, but because it can never tell you cause and effect.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here and it's like I got caught up in the fear loop of like, first it was like, this is how it went for me. It was my flight to Colombia just got canceled because Colombia said you're not welcome as a foreigner. Like literally less than 24 hours. I was on a plane 3 hours before I got the text message saying you're not welcome. And I go, huh, all right. And then I'm watching the East Coast freak out, and I'm on the West Coast at the time. And I'm going, oh, and 2 days before that, I had flown from Denver to San Diego, and the plane was more than half empty in the middle of the day. And I'm going, this shit's for real. And I go, so my first freak out was things are shifting in a way I've never witnessed before. I'm getting out of town.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Utah. I'm not really worried about this virus. Like all the news, like all the attributes of this virus, like they were coming out as like, yeah, you can pass it on before you have symptoms, and you can pass it on for 10 days after you have symptoms, and they're talking about all this stuff. I'm like, sounds a lot like a virus to me. Like out of my friend group, like I think I might have been the only person who knew what a virus was and how it acted and everything. And I'm not saying I'm not a virologist. I'm not a fucking expert on it, but like I know enough. Like I'm nerdy. Like I've studied biology enough to like I know what viruses do. I know how they replicate. Like I get it. But nothing too advanced. And then they're saying all this stuff. I'm like, sounds like a virus. Sounds like a virus. Sounds like a virus. Doesn't sound special at all.
Yeah.
And then but I'm like, but I don't know how people are going to react to this. People are going shelter in place, and I'm going food supply chain. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I was like, and there was about 4 days where I was paying attention to it before I took off out of town. And I'm paying attention, and every day new information rolled in. And it was around day 3 or 4. I go, oh, my brain thinks that it's going to figure this out. And on day 3 or 4, I go, there's too much information, and it's too much conflicting data. And every day I'm learning something new that is very disruptive to the market. And I'm going, I'm getting the fuck out of town. So I go to a place where I can get food and water and shelter, whether or not I have dollar bills.
Yeah.
Because dollar bills may or may not matter. So
I told Mash I was coming to his place. I was like, you got a farm, dude. I'm coming out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm near ranch land, and I have some friends that are ranchers. So that's like my ultimate backup plan. But then it was like a few days later, I was like, all these things, I'm like, it's just a virus. It's like, I don't think anything special about it. And then they're talking about, they're overwhelming the hospitals and they're intubating people. And I'm going, oh shit. Okay. Maybe there is something special to this virus, and I'm paying attention. And then I realized, and then I learned that the footage they were claiming was from New York City was actually from Italy 2 weeks before. And they were like showing the Italian news and the New York news. I go, oh, it's the same exact footage. I go, oh,
it's too much.
I was like, that was made up. Like that image, we all know the power of images. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you said on the news. You showed us a fake image. And it was CNN, it was MSN, it was the major media outlets that was using that footage. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm watching you.
I didn't even see that, but yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And then I'm like looking at the stats and the way the stats are changing. And then and even if you got hit by a car and died, but you happen to have COVID, you now a COVID death and like all this stuff. And I'm going, you got me. Yeah. I don't know. And it could be the worst thing that's ever hit the planet.
Dude,
I don't know.
The funny thing is, like,
I don't trust anyone from the media to tell me the truth about it.
I'm so out. The funny thing is, like, when you talk to people of like their progression, and everyone bought in. So mine was the exponential increase. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
I don't have to know anything, but I understand. I understand those numbers. And when 2 turns into 4 and 4 turns into 8 and 8 turns into 16, and I'm watching every 3 days it double, and I'm going, oh, it's happening. But the thing about exponential growth that's really hard is that 30 has to turn into 60, and 60 has to turn into 120, and 120 has to turn into 240. And when you start getting into the big numbers, exponential growth becomes very, very challenging. It's a hard thing to keep going. And I noticed it went like 9, 18, And then 36 didn't happen. It was like 32.5. And I was like, that's close. I'll give it to them. But then it was like 3 days later, it was like 50. And I was like, they're already wrong. We didn't even get to 100. Like, I know this game. I know what exponential growth is. And that's not, it's not supposed to tail off this early. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to have like, because if you tail off 3% at the beginning, the end number is significantly slower.
So what this person would say that then they go, well, it's because we did shelter in place. It worked. So like the danger is if it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be, we're going to say we overreacted, right? Yeah. And then if it's worse than we thought it, we'll go, oh, we underreacted.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, oh, maybe it worked. I don't fucking know. There's no way.
I'm so happy.
In 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, dude. I have made a point. I'm glad that we got to do this because I've made a point to actually. One of the things that's been very beneficial to my life during this is like randomly FaceTiming people and just having this conversation of like, I think you're smart. I think you're a good critical thinker. Can we talk? Because this is where I'm at. Are you in this, like, are you doing this too? Where it just doesn't make sense? And I don't talk to a single person that, like, we always go, okay, well, where's fitness going? And then we always go, well, where's humanity going? Because this is there, like, it's just weird. It doesn't all add up. There's just a lot of pieces that just it's the duality, right? You don't want a lot of people to die. Nobody wants that. That's not a thing. But you also want to be right. You want to say like, oh, we were scared. Like you want it to be something. If your whole life is going to shift and then we're shutting the whole world down and we're taking these measures, in a way you're like, okay, where's the bodies? What happened? We destroyed our economy. We destroyed people's lives. We put them in their houses. The depression, the abuse, the drinking, all of these social problems have exponentially grown. What were we doing that for? And you want that to be something. You want there to be something tangible because all the negatives are very tangible in people's lives right now on the emotional, the depression, the abuse, all of that stuff. Like that's very, very real in people's lives. And I don't want another thing that also happened. And this number hit at like a bad time in the thought process of like, it's all crap. Was I ran the numbers out in my brain and go, look, if 1 billion people died right now, like 1 billion with a B, the scariest, 1 billion humans, we would just be dumping bodies into the Atlantic Ocean because there's so many things wrong right now. And it's the worst catastrophe that you've ever seen, like to the nth degree of scary and awful. And nobody would ever want this ever. But what if 1 billion people died from COVID-19? And then I realized I still had an 83% chance of making it with the number of people that are in this world. And I was just like, man, I don't want to think like that, but what are we doing? Like, what is it?
Well,
what's happening?
The numbers are definitely built in a glass half empty fashion.
Yeah.
It's a 0.01% death rate, which means it's a 99.99% success rate. So
yeah.
It just I'm not saying that could sound. I can see how someone could interpret this as like.
I know this is why the critical thinking part's really.
Are these guys missing empathy? It's like no, but we're talking about numbers, and numbers are what's creating the fear.
Yeah.
Like, and how are we positioning the numbers that are creating the fear? So it's like if we're going to talk about a 0.01% death rate, we need to talk about a 99.99% survivability rate. So it's good to look at both. Because the mind, the human mind responds more strongly to that 0.01% than the 99.99%.
Yeah, I just wish there was more critical thinking. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm getting out of this is like fear is terrifying. People don't people don't want to critically think about everything on the spectrum. Like if we're going to think about it this way, what's on the other side that we're not paying attention to? And let's measure, let's weigh and balance. Like let's figure out. No, yes, we can all agree we don't want a lot of people to die. I understand that. But what do we have to give up in order for 0 people to die? And what are the implications of 0 people dying? What are the resources that are needed? Like, um, are there just multiple options that we can investigate? Because this one seems really weird. It just seems. I'm not a New World Order person, but the New World Order people have their thing right now.
Well,
I
there's
have
different
got
versions of the New World Order, right? You have like the Bill Gates version, which seems like the scariest version. Uh,
yeah.
Microchips with 666 on them, and then but then you have like the other New World Order conspiracy theory of like yeah, this group is gonna come in and
There's like
clean
5
house
people.
and
Yeah, there's 5
and-
people. We're not gonna have countries anymore. It's just one big country and one
yeah,
big economy, and one person
and
owns it.
everything is gonna be decentralized. And there's like the utopian version, and then there's
The
the
Alex
dystopian
Jones.
version.
God, I would what I would do to sit in a room with Alex Jones right now with
That
like
dude, that dude is making so much money. Like
he's
his
selling,
whole thing is based off of fear. I love
he's
it. So it's
crushing.
I never pay attention to Alex Jones, but the last month, every once in a while, I go over to Infowars. I think it's band.video what he has.
Yeah,
And the stuff he puts out is actually, there's a lot that's pretty good, but I also get why people think he's fucking batshit crazy. So,
he's batshit crazy.
but here's the thing is, this is what I've found to be true in my own life is I love going and talking to the extremists. I'll go hang
They're
out.
fun.
I'll go hang out with like the carnivores, the vegans, the the religious whatever, and this and that. Is like, yeah, I want to like tell me more
Yeah.
because there's
Tell me
value
how
in
weird
that.
it gets.
Yeah, because they've gone to the edge. They understand what that even means, and so they have a lot of value that they bring in. And so, a guy like Alex Jones, no, I'm not listening to everything he says. I'm not saying he's so right, but he's one of these guys that inserts a new piece of information. I'm like, I didn't know that was true. I didn't know that that was
Yeah.
happening in the world. And
Dude, the
I understand
pedophilia
it.
thing actually turned out.
And yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like your interpretation of the data. I'm gonna do my best to separate Alex Jones' interpretation of the data and the data itself. But he's definitely unearthing data that other media outlets would prefer not to identify. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's
But yeah,
the
the
first
pedophilia thing you said.
that turned out to be a
More
real thing. When
more
he dropped
accurate
that
than people wanted it to be.
when
That's for
he
sure.
dropped that on Rogan, I was like, dude, no, come on. I can't like that was like when he said that when I was like, dude, you can't go on Rogan and talk. I wanted to just whisper in his ear and be like, you're not allowed to talk about that, even though it's Rogan. You can talk about anything on Rogan, but not like don't call the Clintons out on pedophilia.
Yeah.
Ah, scary. 5 years later. Ah, so scary. Um, but yeah, it's wild, man. There's just a lot of levels to it that you don't. One thing is how about as a topic that has also come up in this whole thing of like it is the perfect disease or the perfect virus in the perfect storm of general heat from social media, news media, election year, biggest economy we've ever had. Everyone's got more money than we've ever had. Like everything is so hot and at a high. Like everyone's boiling at like a 9.6 right now out of 10. And they're just everyone's at each other. They're all it's like a turf war, but the turf war is online. And now there's an election and it's very obvious Trump probably doesn't have much competition to worry about.
What is happening?
And
Like,
yeah,
here's the thing. So many people who are Democrats want me to care, but come on, motherfuckers, help me care.
help
Me
me.
care. Because
Help me.
Joe Biden ain't doing it.
No, Joe Biden doesn't even want to win. Joe Biden has been in a country club telling Obama stories for the last 4 years and has had more success and more fake laughs and more goofy handshakes than anybody in the country. He just tells the same Obama stories over and over and over again. You think you want to drag him into international politics where he's got to go deal with China for the next 4 years? No way.
Well, here's the thing: is
Nobody wants that.
see, this was Obama backed Biden, and with a week later, Trump. They made videos to make fun of it. Basically, it was a spoof video on Obama supporting Biden, and the spoof video got more views in 24 hours than the original video had gotten in a whole week.
It's so
and
good.
And so, like, a lot of times when people are like, "Do you think there's someone Biden has a chance?" I'm like, no. I understand marketing. Trump has all the attention. I don't care if people think that Biden's better. It won't matter.
Who dominates the 24 hours a day on TV right now?
Trump, baby. Trump.
No one even knows.
I'm not, by the way, I just want to be, I'm not a Trump fan.
I'm just objectively viewing what's going on.
I'm observing what's happening. Yeah. This is fucking entertainment, people.
It's all it is. And he's so good at it. And he's other
winning
guys,
the entertainment game. And Americans love entertainment.
Love it. Keeps it going. Keeps ticker going. Rad, dude. This is awesome. I'm gonna go be dad.
All right, I'm gonna go back to work. I'm gonna eat lunch and go back to work.
Did you make it to the hot springs?
Not yet. It's on the list.
I can't wait to hear about it.
I got all sorts of stuff going on. All right, brother. Love you. Where can people find you? What's your Instagram? Barbell Shrug, all that stuff.
If you made it through all 75 minutes or whatever of this, you're so awesome. Anders Varner, Barbell Shrug, Mondays and Wednesdays. And barbellshrug.com/free. Go get all the free things.
Oh, thanks, Anders.
Later.